everyone, my name is Jill and welcome to my channel. I want to start this video off by saying that this week for me has been pretty crazy in not a great way. I really haven't been able to respond to a lot of the comments that I've been getting. I haven't had the laptop I've been using to do that with, so I'm so sorry if you've been trying to reach out to me. It's just been a hassle. And also, I've been having a lot of problems with my big 230-liter tank recently that have been super sucky. I'll probably talk about that more at the end of this video, but for now, I think that we should just move on and talk about the main topic of this video. You have probably read the title of this video already. This video is going to be comparing the pros and cons of both sponge filters and hang-on back filters. In this video, I will bring up biological filtration and mechanical filtration. So if you don't already know what that is, let me explain it to you. Biological filtration is filtration that promotes the process of turning ammonia to nitrites to nitrates, and that is the cycle of a tank. Mechanical filtration is the filtration in your tank that sucks up fish waste and food particles, so it keeps your water crystal clear. A great example of biological filtration is sponge filters, and a great example of mechanical filtration is hang-on back filters. I feel like Shakespeare with the skull. I do need to mention, for the people that don't already know, you do need an air pump to run a sponge filter in your aquarium. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it, and let's start off with the sponge filter. First pro I want to list off about sponge filters is the price point. They are very cheap, especially when you compare them to other kinds of filtration. Sponge filters can range from $2 to $15. They don't go very much higher than that if they do, and even though they do need an air pump to run, air pumps, as a lot of us know, are also very inexpensive. So yeah, the price point to me is a 10 out of 10 for sponge filters. Sponge filters can also last a very long time. This is all plastic and sponge. There's nothing mechanical in here to break down, and the most you have to worry about, again, is just the air pump that you have. And in my experience, pumps are pretty reliable, so it's nothing I feel like you should have to worry about. Sponge filters are easy to clean. You do not have to take it apart. You do not have to change out cartridges. They're pretty simple. So yeah, if you have a hard time keeping up with your hang-on back filter or your canister filters, this is something that you should consider. If you have a fish that requires a gentle filter flow, such as a betta fish, this is a great choice for you. Another example of this is fish fry. Most breeders will prefer sponge filters over any other kind of filter because sponge filters are very gentle for your fry, and they're also very safe for your fry. As you can see, there's a ton of pros for sponge filters, but I'm going to name off just one more, and that is that they're very inexpensive to run. Let's say you have 5 or more fish tanks, or even a fish room. Running a hang-on back filter or canister filters on all of your fish tanks can become pretty expensive, but all you really need is a big air pump, a splitter that has multiple ends, and sponge filters. And you can run all of your tanks off of one air pump, and that can be very cost effective. You save energy, and it just is a good decision in my opinion. Now, let's move on to the cons of sponge filters. First con, some people think that sponge filters can be ugly. They like their tanks to be aquascaped. They don't want a big bulky sponge in the corner of their tank. It's really your preference. I personally don't think that they're ugly. I have grown to like the look of them, so yeah, I don't know, it's up to you. Another con is water clarity. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, sponge filters are great for biological filtration. They promote the process of nitrification, but they do not do very much mechanical filtration. You can get a sponge filter with bigger pores that will kind of filtrate mechanically better, but yeah, they don't do much. Your tank could end up looking dirty, it could end up looking a little bit gunky, but your cycle will be perfect and your fish will be happy, and to me that's what matters. To other people it might be a big deal and you might not like that, so it's really up to you. It's all preference with these cons. That is actually the last con I have for sponge filters, so yeah, the pros outweigh the cons to me. But let's move on to hang-on back filters now. This is a hang-on back filter, and it's very dirty, by the way. I don't know why I couldn't have cleaned this a little bit better before I started this video, but you know, that's just how it is. But all that's missing is the motor. This is what it looks like. This is not what all hang-on back filters look like. It's an Aqua Clear 50. This is the one that I've always used. I actually have never had any other hang-on back filters other than Aqua Clears. Not that anyone asked. A big pro for hang-on back filters is that they can keep your water a lot more clear than a sponge filter. Since they do mechanically filtrate, they can take up a lot of that gunk. They filter a lot more water, and your water ends up looking a lot better if you have a hang-on back filter. This next pro is not for everyone. Since I do have an Aqua Clear 50, I can use a ton of different kinds of filter medias. Some hang-on back filters only come with cartridges, but if you have a hang-on back filter like this, you can truly customize what you're using to filter your tank. You can put in carbon sheets, ammonia sheets, you can put in more sponges, pretty much anything, any sort of like ceramic beads. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I think that that's very cool about hang-on back filters. And also you can put a filter on your intake if you have fry or something like that, or you just want the extra filtration. So these are very customizable, and you can use a lot of different filter medias with these things. I have a list of pros and cons of both sponge filters and hang-on back filters, but that's pretty much the last of the pros of a hang-on back filter to me. So let's move on to the cons. First con, like I mentioned earlier, these can be kind of expensive to run, especially if you have a lot of them, if you have a fish room, or if you just have multiple tanks. A little bit expensive. They're also hard to clean unless you have the hang-on back filters that only have the interchangeable cartridges. It's pretty easy to switch out those things, but if you have one like mine, it can take a little bit more time to switch out filter medias and size in filter medias and wring it all out. So yeah, that's a little bit of a con. It's not too big of a deal, but yeah, it's a bit harder than sponge filters. And the last con I have for hang-on back filters is if the power goes out, they might have a hard time starting back up. Now, not every hang-on back filter is going to have a hard time starting up, so I'm just like continue going. But my hang-on back filters have always stuffed up when the power goes out and the power comes back on. They'll sit and their motor will spin, which is damaging to the motor for one, but it's not filtrating my tank then, and I could be gone for a few hours before I come back home. It could just become a big problem. So yeah, that's my last con for this guy. It seems like I had a lot to say about sponge filters and not a lot to say about hang-on back filters, so you can probably tell which side I'm on. I'm definitely on the sponge filter side. I love sponge filters. A lot of you guys already know that, but what do you guys think? Which one do you like more? Do you like sponge filters? Do you like hang-on back filters? Do you have any arguments for me? Let me know down in the comments. But wait, stop. Before you go, I have two important things to say. First thing I want to talk about is what I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So basically, I'm having problems with my 230 liter tank. I've been losing fish and I'm having a hard time diagnosing what is wrong. So yeah, it's been pretty stressful for me trying to figure out what is happening. And I don't know, maybe I'll talk about that more in a different YouTube video. I'm pretty much at a loss for words. What is going on? I don't know. Send your prayers. I don't know. Anyways, moving on to my second most important thing, and that is a huge thank you to my patrons on Patreon. As always, thank you so much, Calvin, Danny, Stormy, Abby, Cam from Cam's Fish Adventures here on YouTube, Skippity Skeep, my mama, Dan the Man, and my newest patrons on Patreon, my sister, and CJ0023X. Just rolls off your tongue. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I would not be able to make videos like this without you guys, and I'm forever appreciative of you. And if anyone else would like to become a patron of mine, I will leave a link to my Patreon in the description. But yeah, that is the end of the video. If you like this video, please do drop a like because it helps my channel so much. If you like me and you like this sort of video, do subscribe, and I do hope to see you in the next one.